What's up, J Fusion fans, and welcome to a brand new vlog. And you guys probably have seen a recent photo that I posted on the Facebook fan page of Sogo Tokiwa as Omagio and Giorno Giovanna with his Gold Experience Requiem. So the question is Kamen Rider Gyo a JoJo reference? Now, the short answer is, of course, no. Of course, it's not a JoJo reference, but I did see a lot of similarities that I think we can draw parallels from. Although there are indeed glaring differences as well, and we're also going to point them out in this video. Now, in terms of the shows, Kamen Rider Gyo has just recently concluded, and not long before that, the anime run of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind has also ended as well. So that's already a similarity for you. Both shows have ended around the same time. So, again, spoiler alert in case you haven't caught up with the latest episodes. So, yeah, go ahead, feel free to watch and then come back to this video. And otherwise, if you are fine with the spoilers, so you're feel free to enjoy. So I am going to look at things from a broader perspective because you will see a lot of the similarities if you look at it from a broader perspective. Of course, the differences come in the smaller details anyway. So for Kamen Rider Gyo, I'm going to take into consideration the Omagio form because this is the form that I'm more familiar with compared to the movie exclusive Kamen Rider Gyo Oma form, which still isn't clear how different their power sets are if they practically have the same abilities anyway. And considering that I made a video about how Kamen Rider Omagio may be the most powerful Kamen Rider of all time, so there's that. So I am more familiar with the Omagio than Gyo Oma form, so we'll stick with that. And for Gold Experience, of course, we have Gold Experience Requiem. So we are going to take a look at both Sogo and Giorno in their most powerful states. So first, let's take a look at their characters to start off. So Sogo Tokiwa is an ordinary high school student who wishes to become a king. So he, of course, learns about his future, but he learns that the future Sogo is a tyrant. So Sogo fights in order to change that future and become a beloved king. Now, for Giorno's case, he wanted to become what's called a gangster who is loved by people, much like a superstar. So there you have the term gangstar. Now, looking at these from a broad perspective, like I've said earlier, both Sogo and Giorno wanted to become figures who are respected and loved by many people. So they wanted to be in that kind of position. Now, looking at their abilities now, this is where things get interesting. So, Kamen Rider Gyo, or rather Kamen Rider Omagio, so his main ability is actually to recreate time. So, of course, Kamen Rider Omagio has the ability to, manipulate time and send enemies through different dimensions if he so wishes to. He can control gravity. He can also control magic and whatnot. So, yeah, he is pretty broken, and add to the fact that he is physically powerful with the suit alone. So, yeah. I mean, practically nobody's a match for him at that point. So now moving on to Gold Experience Requiem, although yes, Gold Experience can be used in combat and he has his own mudam dam 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 da, his main powers actually involve healing, and later on gains the ability to give life to inanimate objects as Gold Experience Requiem. And Gold Experience Requiem gains an added ability thanks to the stand arrow, which enables him to trap enemies in an endless loop, making them experience their demise over and over again, just like what Giorno did to Diavolo. Now, in that sense, in a way, they do share abilities that are related to time. So there's that. And we actually have to take a look next at their opponents. Now, for Kamen Rider Gio, I actually choose to focus on Swartz because he was generally the main antagonist, at least within the show. Of course, we do have the future Sogo, who's the tyrant, but we don't actually see them, fight as often. So Schwartz himself has his own ambitions that can actually qualify him as a worthy candidate for final boss anyway. So again, we're going to have to focus on Swartz, and comparing him to Diavolo, I guess using Swartz would make more sense, and seeing that they will share some similarities with Diavolo. So yeah. So first of all, Swartz has the ability to stop time mainly, although his opponents are very much aware of what's happening. Now, what's interesting is the differences between Swartz and Diavolo's abilities. So, of course, for Diavolo to activate his abilities, he needs his stand King Crimson. Now, while Swartz's abilities of stopping time is more akin to that of Dio Brando and Zawado, but King Crimson has the ability to, according to most people who analyze King Crimson, he skips time or he erases time. But how I see it is this. So imagine yourself trying to throw a punch at Diavolo. So you're starting off with your fist pulled back. So this is your guard pose. And then the next second, you've already finished throwing the punch. Now, within that period of trying to throw your punch and having actually thrown your punch already, that time in between, you actually have no memory of it. So this is where their time-related abilities differ. So with Swartz's time stop, you're actually aware of what's happening, and for Diavolo's time skip, you actually have no recollection of what actually happened in between like point A and point B. So that's actually interesting of note. However, they have some similarities. Now, Swartz eventually becomes the Another Decade, and Another Decade, just like his original counterpart, has a lot of magenta parts. Now, King Crimson, although his name, King Crimson already points out that his color is going to be related to red, King Crimson himself isn't completely red. In fact, there are a lot of pinkish hues on King Crimson, and I do believe that one of those red hues used on him was magenta. So this is one of the reasons why I chose to compare Swartz and Diavolo. So they do have some similar color schemes, at least with Swartz in his Another Decade form. Now, again, looking at the broader ability, both Swartz and Diavolo have the ability to control time as well, in different ways, but yeah, they also have time-related abilities. So that's already interesting of note. And going back to these kinds of powers, it's interesting, at least for the side of JoJo, that they have these parameters for stand abilities, or trying to gauge the strength and power in general of stands. So stands are measured in six parameters. So you have their destructive power, which is of course their attack, their durability or persistence, which is primarily their defense stat. You have your speed, range, accuracy, and development potential. So if we try to apply those stats normally for stats in the JoJo Bizarre Adventure universe, we also have 5 levels from E to A, with E being the lowest and A being the highest. And it's actually interesting if we try to apply that to the Kamen Rider universe as well, with the rider forms. Instead of the typical gauging of stats like by punching power, kicking power, jump height, running speed, and whatnot. So for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures stands, this of course the strongest stands would have at least an A on more than two parameters. Let's say, for example, King Crimson does have an A in attack and durability, I believe, but for a stand like Gold Experience Requiem, his stats are considered so high that they are actually beyond the scale of whatever. Like they're just beyond the scale. So in a way, like Gold Experience is in fact a broken stand. So if we consider that Gold Experience Requiem is primarily a stand used for defense and support rather than attack, having stats so high that even his attack power is so much makes him very powerful in battle indeed. So you also have Omagio. Again, you already have the ability to control gravity. You can probably rewrite time. You can probably erase it and whatnot. So again, both Omagio and Gold Experience Requiem are very powerful in that sense. And of course, applying that to Swartz and Diavolo, they are pretty powerful in their own right, of course. So moving on, there's actually another similarity that I've seen, at least on the part of Diavolo and Swartz, and that is their goal to actually eliminate a blood relative. Now, in Swartz's case, he has his sister Ulpina, who we popularly know as Tsukuyomi, and Diavolo has his daughter Trish. Now, while they do intend on eliminating their blood relatives, they of course differ in their reasons for doing so. So for Swartz, he wanted to save his own dimension, but for the sake of dominating it for himself and not actually saving it or protecting it from destruction. That is the basic gist of it. Now, for Diavolo, he wanted to eliminate his own daughter Trish just for the sake of keeping his identity a secret, because Diavolo is a man who seems to be so obsessed with keeping identity as a secret. So he uses like a fake name, and he even actually has a split personality that actually changes his form. He actually becomes younger when he resorts to his other persona, which is Doppio. So that's actually one way of looking at things. That's one interesting way of looking at it. So you have a power hungry maniac who wants to eliminate his sister, who is actually said to be much more capable of saving the world. And then you have uh, a man who is obsessed with keeping his secret and is willing to eliminate anyone who would actually know about his identity. So there's that. Now, in terms of other characters, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind has a lot more in terms of characters, like the Passione gang that uh, Giorno belongs to has more characters, while Sogo mainly has Gates, Tsukuyomi, and Was by his side. So at least in that aspect, they are hard to compare. So there's already one huge difference. So there's that. In conclusion, I know it's definitely hard to convince anyone that JoJo and Kamen Rider Geo are, like references, or rather, it's definitely hard to convince someone that Kamen Rider Geo has JoJo references. Maybe there are references, but unintentional. Just purely coincidence, as far as I'm concerned. But again, it was interesting to look at how many similarities they have anyway. So there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. I know my arguments may not be the best, but this is just my own opinion. So anyways, again, if you have your own comments or if you have your own opinions, feel free to leave it in the comment section. So again, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye!